Hey, I'm Chelsea at Friday Pattern Company, and this is the video sew along for the skirt of the Saturday skirt set. We have a separate video for the top that we'll link below. And yeah, before you start this video, you should have your pattern pieces cut out, and we'll go through each step and sew it together. I'm really happy with how it turned out, so I'm super excited for the sew along. Before we start sewing, you want to make sure that you snip in at all of the notches on your pattern pieces. These are reference points that we'll use while sewing to make sure things are lined up properly. So just snip in 1/4 inch at all notches. You're also going to cut a length of waistband elastic. This is 1 inch wide elastic, and there's a suggested elastic length for each size in the beginning of the instructions. Now you're going to grab your skirt front H, and we'll lay out our pocket facing J pieces right sides together on our skirt front, and you can match up the notches that are on the side and top of the skirt thing, and we'll sew along that diagonal seam using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. After you repeat that on both sides, you will press your pockets out away from your skirt along with the seam allowance underneath. And then we're going to edge stitch. So we'll just sew 1/8 of an inch from our seam, catching the seam allowance underneath. And the edge stitch stops the pocket seam from kind of rolling forward and you wear it. So here that is done. Now we'll sew the pocket backs onto our pocket. So you grab your pocket back K, and right sides together you're going to lay it on top of your pocket facing, matching up that curved edge. And then we'll sew around that curved edge using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. After you sew that, you are going to finish this seam. So you can do that with a zigzag stitch or a serger or whatever your preferred method is. And you'll repeat that on both sides. Now you're going to fold the pocket back so it aligns with the edge of the skirt. So you'll match the notches again that are on your side seam and the top of your skirt piece. So you'll just flip that back, and then we're going to baste these in place so that they don't move around when we join our skirt front to our skirt back. And you're going to go across the top and then along the side seams on both sides. Here that is done. And next up, we're going to join our skirt front to our skirt back. The skirt comes together really quickly. And so again, right sides together, you'll lay your skirt back on top of your skirt front, matching up the side seam. And you can match the notches that are on the side seam. And then you'll sew down the sides of your skirt using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. You'll repeat this on both sides, and then you're going to finish your seam in the same manner that you finished your pocket edge. Once you've finished that, you can press the seam towards the back, and then we'll get started on the waistband. You have a front and back waistband that both need to be pressed in half lengthwise, wrong sides together. Then you're going to take your back waistband M, and you're going to sew across the bottom using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Now we're going to add elastic to the back waistband, so grab your length of elastic that you cut in the beginning, and you can attach a safety pin to the end, and then you will just inch your way down this tube that you've created on your back waistband piece. Be careful not to let the ends come out, so I like to just pin them in place once I get them, and then I can scooch things around so that the elastic doesn't get pulled into the waistband, if you know what I mean. Then we're going to baste down the short sides of our waistband just to hold the elastic in place while we join it to the front. Here's that finished. I also scooted away the gathers on the waistband when I sewed this so that they didn't get caught in that little seam I made. Grab your front waistband, and then we're going to wrap it around the end of our back waistband at the short ends. So I like to scooch some of the fabric away, and then you just match the raw edges of the fabric and fold it around carefully, pin it in place, and then we'll take this to the machine and sew it using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And you're going to repeat on both sides and backstitch. And then once you have that done, you can just pull it, and you got a waistband that's elasticated in the back and flat in the front. Now we're going to pin the waistband to the skirt, and this step is the only one that's a little bit tricky on this. So I like to just pin the front of the waistband to the front of the skirt. You're going to match notches and you can match side seams. And then you also have a notch at center back that you are going to match. We'll start by sewing the front waistband. So starting at the side seam, I will use a 3/8 inch seam allowance to stitch around the front of the skirt. When you get to the back, you're going to have to pull on the waistband and kind of move the elastic around inside of its casing to get the waistband fabric flat as you sew it to the skirt. So I just move really slowly, stretching the fabric out and moving the elastic around so that when it's being sewn, it's flat, not gathered up. And then you can kind of just scooch your way along and work your way around the rest of the waistband. After you finish sewing around the waistband, you will finish the seam. Again, you're going to have to pull the waistband flat as you sew, and then all we have left to do is hem the skirt and we're done. Here is our finished waist seam, and you're going to press the waistband up away from the skirt. And I also like to give the elastic a steamy press if your fabric will allow, because it just kind of makes it look nice. We're going to press the hem of our skirt under 3/8 of an inch, going all the way around the hem of the skirt. Press it under another 3/8 of an inch. And then you are going to edge stitch around the hem of your skirt 1/8 of an inch from that folded edge. And here is our cute, fun, and groovy finished skirt, all ready to go. Here is the finished set, and I love it so much. It's going to be a super versatile addition to my wardrobe because I think these pieces are really cute on their own. They're obviously very cute together. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this sew along and that you have fun sewing the Saturday skirt set. And we'll see you next time.